Welcome back, Numismatics Hub. Imagine holding a simple U.S. Lincoln penny overlooked for decades, now fetching thousands at high-stakes auctions. In this thrilling episode, we uncover the untold stories behind three ordinary-looking pennies from 1964, 1972, and 1983 that quietly escaped mint scrutiny, only to become rare collector's gems. From unexpected strike flaws and missing initials to mysterious metal composition shifts, these coins carry secrets that transform spare change into jaw-dropping treasures. Our first stop takes us into the world of the 1964 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. It looks just like every other penny you've seen 1,000 times. But what if that unassuming little coin in your hand isn't just worth 1 cent? What if it's a mistake, a flaw, or a rare variant that collectors would pay thousands to get their hands on? That's the kind of mystery we're diving into today. We're peeling back the layers of one of the most common coins in American history, the 1964 Lincoln penny, and uncovering the rare versions, the hidden errors, and the jaw-dropping auction stories that have shocked even seasoned collectors. And here's the kicker. One of these rare 1964 pennies recently sold at auction for up to $195,000. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny. Almost 200 grand. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. Let's start with the basics. The 1964 Lincoln 1-cent coin was minted at a fascinating time in U.S. history. America was in the midst of the civil rights movement. The Beatles had just landed in the U.S., and President Lyndon B. Johnson had taken office after JFK's assassination. It was a time of great cultural and political shifts, and the coins minted during that era have quietly become part of that story. Now, this penny features the classic design we've all come to know. The right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design first introduced in 1909 to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse side shows the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. It's a solid, recognizable image, nothing fancy, just a piece of American tradition. The coin itself is made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. In 1964, the U.S. Mint struck over 6.4 billion of these pennies, primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That means there are a lot of them out there. But here's where it gets exciting. Because with that many coins being produced, mistakes were bound to happen. And some of those mistakes? They turned into fortune-making rarities. One of the most fascinating errors involves a simple, but extremely rare minting mistake: the double die obverse. In some of the 1964 pennies, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, the die that stamps the image onto the coin had been struck twice slightly off, resulting in a doubling effect, most noticeably seen in the inscriptions. "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1964. If you've got sharp eyes and happen to spot one of these, you might just be looking at a 4 or even 5-figure treasure. Then there's the off-center strike error. Imagine the coin getting stamped just a bit too far to one side, so the design looks lopsided or incomplete. These flawed coins, though born from factory error, are often worth far more than their perfectly minted siblings. And the further off-center the strike, the higher the value, especially if the date is still fully visible. Let's not forget about the rare proof coins either. Proofs are typically struck with extra care and are meant for collectors, not for circulation. But every now and then, a proof coin accidentally finds its way into everyday use. A circulated 1964 proof penny, especially with a cameo or deep cameo contrast, can be extremely rare and command serious attention at auction. And here's another layer to this story: transitional errors. In the numismatic world, transitional errors are like winning the lottery. These occur when a coin is accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition or design type from a different year. While this is rare with 1964 pennies specifically, there have been whispers and rumors among collectors about unique transitional anomalies. Coins that don't quite fit the norm and raise eyebrows at coinshows.so. How much are we talking about? Really? Let's put it into perspective. A standard 1964 penny in circulated condition is probably worth, well, just a penny. But one with a clear double die error that can fetch anywhere from $5,000 to over $25,000, depending on condition. An off-center strike with visible date? Easily $500 to $1,000, possibly more. A proof coin that somehow ended up in circulation? $10,000 to $30,000, especially if it's a deep cameo in great shape. And then there's the king of them all, a pristine, high-grade, rare variation of the 1964 Lincoln cent that stunned bidders at a major auction, finally closing at a jaw-dropping $195,000. Let that sink in. One small copper coin, worth nearly $200,000. And now the question you've probably been asking yourself: could you have one hiding at home right now? Could there be a tiny piece of copper sitting in a jar, in your glove box, or buried in an old drawer somewhere that holds a secret value you never imagined? This isn't just a coin story. This is a treasure hunt. It's the idea that something as ordinary as a penny, something millions of people throw away without thinking, could actually be your ticket to an unexpected payday. So here's what you do. Start checking those old jars. Go through your childhood coin collections. Look at your change before you spend it. You're not just holding coins. You could be holding history. You could be holding money. Real, life-changing money. And if you do find one, well, let's just say your next trip might be to a major coin auction house instead of the grocery store. Thanks for watching, and if you love stories like this, where ordinary objects become extraordinary treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss the next unbelievable coin discovery. There's a world of hidden value out there, and you just might be holding it in your hand. Now we move to 1972 1-cent penny. What if that little penny you've had lying in a junk drawer since the 70s is actually worth a fortune? No joke. This isn't just another rumor or old wives' tale. We're talking about the 1972 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin so common it probably passed through millions of hands without anyone thinking twice. But hidden among the billions minted that year are rare gems, coins with subtle but stunning errors, mistakes so fascinating that collectors are willing to spend thousands, tens of thousands, and in rare cases, even more, to own one. Imagine the excitement of flipping through a handful of pennies and noticing something slightly off. Maybe the lettering looks a little doubled. Maybe Lincoln's profile seems a bit fuzzy, as though it was stamped twice. You wouldn't be imagining things. You could be staring down one of the most coveted error coins in modern numismatics, a 1972 double die obverse Lincoln cent. Now, before we reveal just how much these rare versions have sold for, let's explore what makes the 1972 penny so intriguing in the first place. The Lincoln penny series had already been a part of American coinage for decades when the 1972 edition rolled out. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse continued to feature the profile of Abraham Lincoln with the words, "In God We Trust," arched across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1972, to the right. The reverse displayed the Lincoln Memorial with "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" above it, and 1 cent below. The penny's composition was still the classic 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it that rich, dark red tone many collectors recognize instantly. But 1972 wasn't just another minting year. It was the year one of the most dramatic and well-known double die errors in U.S. coin history occurred. And this isn't a blink and you'll miss it kind of error. It's obvious. The doubling effect on this particular variety is strong and unmistakable, especially in the inscriptions. Look closely at "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. If the letters or numbers appear as if they've been stamped twice, with a shadow or doubling effect, you may be holding a double die obverse, or DDO variety. And this specific error? It's officially recognized as 1972 DDO-FS 101, a designation that instantly spikes its value. The thing about this double die error is that it wasn't just a tiny slip-up. It was bold, clear, easily visible to the naked eye. And yet, most people never noticed. These coins quietly circulated in the millions, and only over time did collectors start realizing what had happened. Here's where things start getting wild. In average circulated condition, a 1972 DDO penny can bring in anywhere from $100 to $500. Not bad for a coin you could have gotten in change. But if it's in better condition, let's say mint state or even uncirculated, the price climbs fast. Some certified MS-65 examples have gone for $3,000 to $7,500. And then, there are the ultra-high-grade examples, the kind that make headlines. Take, for instance, the one that stunned the coin world, a pristine 1972 DDO Lincoln Cent, graded MS-67 red by PCGS. When it hit the auction block, bids flew. People knew how rare it was to find one in such perfect condition. By the time the dust settled, the final hammer price soared past $14,000 for a single penny. And we're not done yet. Other 1972 penny errors add more spice to the mix. Off-center strikes, where the image appears crooked or incomplete, can bring in hundreds, especially if the date remains visible. Struck-through errors, where a foreign object left a mark during minting, are also highly collectible. Even misaligned dies or rotated designs can result in coins worth far more than face value. Then, there are rare transitional pieces, coins struck with the wrong dies or wrong metals. Although incredibly rare, even whispers of their existence keep collectors hunting. But let's go back to that original question. Could you have one of these hiding at home right now? The answer is absolutely yes. It's entirely possible. The U.S. Mint struck over 5.5 billion Lincoln Cents in 1972, with the bulk coming from the Philadelphia Mint, where, notably, the most famous double die errors were found. These weren't intentionally created collector's items. These were accident-born rarities that slipped into circulation and quietly made their way into pockets, piggy banks, coin jars, and kitchen drawers across the country. That's what makes this story so thrilling. This isn't about rare gold coins locked in museums or silver dollars hidden in bank vaults. This is about a copper coin that might be sitting on your counter right now. It could be in a coffee can under your grandpa's workbench. It could be in the penny tray at your local gas station. The possibility of a jackpot sitting unnoticed in a common place is what keeps treasure hunters, collectors, and everyday folks looking through coins with a renewed sense of curiosity. Because here's the truth, not all treasure is buried. Some of it jingles in your pocket. Some of it hides in the ordinary. And if you happen to find a 1972 penny with clear doubling on the lettering, don't shrug it off. Get it checked. Have it graded. You could be holding a piece of U.S. Mint history worth thousands, maybe even tens of thousands. One collector did, and they walked away from an auction with nearly $15,000 in their pocket, all from a coin most people wouldn't look twice at. So what are you waiting for? Check your old change jars. Revisit that childhood coin collection in the attic. Take a closer look the next time you get pennies and change. Because while most are just worth 1 cent, one might just change your life. And if you enjoy stories like this, stories where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell icon so you never miss out on the next hidden gem we uncover. Who knows? The next treasure we talk about might already be in your hands. Now the last turn of 1983 1-cent coin. What if the rust-colored penny you tossed in a jar years ago turned out to be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Not a special edition. Not a coin from ancient history. Just a 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might think, it's too new, too common, too boring to be valuable. But that's exactly what makes this story so exciting. Because out of the millions of ordinary 1983 pennies produced, a tiny handful were struck with one of the most shocking errors in modern U.S. minting history. And those errors? They've turned some of these coins into treasures worth more than most people's used cars. Let's back up a little and look at what we're dealing with. The 1983 Lincoln cent followed the same design seen on pennies since 1959, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. The obverse included, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1983, to the right. It was also the first full year the penny was made from a copper-plated zinc core rather than solid copper. That change had started in late 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. So, starting in 1983, the new cents were lighter and had a different ring when dropped. But what wasn't supposed to happen, what absolutely wasn't part of the plan, was that a few of these new 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets. Yes, you heard that right. While the entire U.S. Mint was transitioning to the new copper-coated zinc planchets, a few old-style copper planchets from 1982 slipped through the cracks. They ended up getting struck with the 1983 design, and those mistakes led to a legendary numismatic mystery. Most 1983 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. But those struck on the wrong metal, the leftover copper planchets, have become some of the most hunted Lincoln cents in circulation. Could you tell the difference just by looking? Not easily. But if you weigh them, there's a major clue. A standard 1983 zinc cent weighs about 2.5 grams. But a copper cent from before the switch weighs about 3.1 grams. That tiny weight difference makes all the difference in the world. So, if you're sitting on a 1983 penny, weighing it might be your first clue that you've stumbled onto something special. Now, here's where the story gets really intense. One of the most famous 1983 copper era pennies, authenticated and graded by a top certification service, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $15,000. And that wasn't even in perfect condition. The value climbs with the coin's grade. Another example, graded in pristine condition, shattered expectations by hitting nearly $18,000 at auction. Imagine the look on someone's face when they realize a coin they've had since the 80s could pay for a new car or a year of college tuition. But there's another twist in this story. The 1983 cent isn't just known for its wrong metal planchet error. It's also infamous for dramatic doubling errors. That's right. Just like the famous 1972 double-die penny, the 1983 Lincoln cent has its own variety of double-die obverse. In this case, doubling is clearly visible on the inscriptions. "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1983. These are no subtle shadows. You can see them with the naked eye. Some even describe it as bold and unmistakable. These double dies happened when the hub that strikes the coin design onto the die shifted slightly between strikes. Instead of a clean, single image, the coin ends up with ghostly or split lettering, an instant red flag to collectors that something special happened during minting. When one of these coins hits the market in great condition, it doesn't just sell, it explodes. Some of the best preserved 1983 double-die Lincoln cents have brought in auction prices well into the thousands. Even a lightly circulated example could fetch hundreds, and the better the grade, the higher the price climbs. There's a sense of magic in these coins. A blend of history, accident, and discovery. They were never meant to be rare. They were never intended to be valuable. But time, mistakes, and a keen eye have turned them into some of the most wanted pennies of their generation. And here's the part that will keep you checking your pocket change for weeks. Most of these rare 1983 errors, whether they're struck on copper planchets or carry dramatic doubling, were never separated from circulation. They weren't scooped up by collectors the moment they were minted. They've been out there, floating around in drawers, piggy banks, couch cushions, and coin jars. That's why the question remains alive and burning. Could you have one hiding at home right now? The answer is a thrilling yes. One could be sitting in that dusty box of old change from your childhood. Another might be tucked away in a forgotten coin roll. The only thing standing between you and a valuable discovery is curiosity. And maybe a small digital scale. Think about the thrill of that moment. You weigh a penny. It reads 3.1 grams. You take a closer look. The date says 1983. And then your heart skips a beat as you realize it's copper. Your hands start to tremble. Could it be real? You get it certified. Weeks later, it sells at auction for $19, 500. That's not fiction. That's reality for a few lucky people who dared to take a closer look. So next time you see a 1983 penny, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Weigh it. Look for the doubling. You might just be holding one of the greatest error coins of the last 50 years. And if you love stories like this, where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary treasures, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell icon so you never miss a rare coin reveal. Because somewhere out there, in a pocket or a jar or an old shoebox, the next 5-figure penny is still waiting to be found. Maybe, just maybe, it's already yours. One of the most astonishing 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coins ever discovered, struck on a copper planchet and in nearly perfect condition, sold at auction for an unbelievable $19,500. Yes, for a penny. Keep searching. The next one could be in your hand.